So today I just wanted to do a quick video to highlight the differences between this current Android generation of Chinese emulators and what you can buy for $200 in the Android mobile phone space. I literally just googled Snapdragon 665 mobile phone and I found this Moto 8. It cost pretty much around 200 US. For a controller, I literally just went through the drawer and found an old PS2 controller. I used a little USB to USB-C adapter and plugged it in, and wouldn't you know it, it just worked straight away. I thought God of War would be a great introduction test. So here we can see it running with 60 frames per second. I have it on single resolution, as in it's the original PSP resolution. It's pretty good. I mean, there's no point comparing this. I don't even want to waste your time to pull out the Retroid Pocket 2. It can run this at 15 frames a second, but that's not really a fair comparison because that is a sub $100 device. But I guess the whole point of doing this is to really open our eyes to where these handhelds should be, and hopefully at a $200 price point. So yeah, this is running amazingly, and keep in mind this is a 665 Snapdragon, not a 68 series that everyone keeps saying we need. Obviously the higher the number, the higher the price. Here's Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. This is running double resolution to the native device. I found that there was a bit of power to spare. It has little, like tiny little hiccups, but I think that's when it's caching the next section of terrain in the map. Anyway, you know GTA.
Watch where you're walking.
Yeah. Kick that grandma. Alright, let's steal a car. Gunshots. This thing is running it great. Get out of my way. Yeah, this is running really well. It's quite a fun GTA game. I don't play these for long periods. I just go on a rampage basically until I die or get arrested. That's pretty much always been my Grand Theft Auto experience. So here's Ridge Racer 2. This is also double resolution. And if you're interested to see how this runs on the RP2 or even the RGB10, you can check out my previous video. It does a pretty in-depth coverage of this game on the Retroid Pocket 2. But this is flawless. I mean, this feels better than a PSP. So good. And playing it on a PS2 controller, all the buttons are all mapped exactly where you would want them on a PlayStation. All the trigger buttons for the camera changing angles, the nitro, which is the right trigger.
5 seconds remain. Yes!
And now some Dreamcast. You'll remember from my previous video the RP2 had a lot of trouble with this game's textures. It had corrupted textures. So I thought this would be a good one to look at. And this is running, I believe, at double the resolution of the Dreamcast. And it's flawless. So good. I mean, perfect. That's a good way to describe it. And again, the controller mapping works really well. I don't recall I had to change any button mappings at all. It just worked straight away with the PS2 controller. And this is running under Redream emulator. Again, I tried to install that on the Retroid Pocket 2 and the Play Store wouldn't allow it to be downloaded. I believe that's because the device doesn't support OpenGL ES 3.0. I could be wrong, but either way you can't download it off the Play Store at the moment. Here's another Dreamcast title, Sonic Adventure 2. Perfect. I'm just sort of shocked about how good this is. I've seen people review them in the past. I've seen people comment in all the threads about how their Android phone dominates every single handheld as it's released. And I kind of paid it lip service. I didn't really realise. And especially not at this price range for $200. And here's Quake 3 running on Dreamcast. under Redream. Again, full frames, double resolution, looks great. I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters with analog sticks, I'm not going to lie. I grew up on mouse and keyboard and I just can't get the same speed and agility out of these systems, so I kind of don't play them. But I thought it'd be worth having a look at. I hadn't seen Quake 3 on Dreamcast, I played it on PC, so feels like almost a different game. I'm really surprised. It's definitely a decent port. I'd love to see it running with multiplayer. If you had a mouse and keyboard. Next challenge I threw the Snapdragon 665 was Mortal Kombat 2. You'll know from my previous videos I'm pretty picky when it comes to emulating this game, and not many devices can do it. So far the only one I've found that does it really well, like in the budget price range, is the Odroid Go Advance and all the following clones, the RGB10 and the Arcade 2020 and now the RG351. But this is running perfect. Now some N64. This one's GoldenEye, one of the harder ones. It's running well, I mean really well, but not perfect. It does make you realise how difficult N64 must be to emulate. I mean, these newer systems like PSP and Dreamcast, they run a lot better under these systems, which means the emulators are more adaptable. It's an interesting thing. I'd love to know why. I might read up on it one day, why the N64 is such a hard one to emulate. If anyone knows, I'd love to see your comments. Super Mario 64. It is one of the easiest ones to test. And yes, we're looking really good here. This is up-resed, so it's actually better than the N64 would have looked. I'm not sure how many times up-resed, but I'd say at least 2. And it's full frames, and the controls work great. Straight out of the box, that PS2 controller just worked plugged into an Android phone. It's obviously a priority for Android emulator developers. They want to make sure the main control that people will use is as simple as possible, and they did a great job. This is crazy fast, sharp, and with this controller it's basically as good as playing it on a Nintendo 64. So again, $200 device, just setting the benchmark for where these Chinese handhelds need to be, and I think they need to be there soon. And wouldn't you know it, my daughter again has found a new favourite system. She's actually been asking me to lug this thing down with the tripod so she could play it. I'm not sure what to make from that. She was pretty much addicted to the RGB10, but this is the one she's going to ask for now. I've had to start giving her Nintendo Switch time, which is a shame, but it's the only way I can stop her begging for this system. So I don't know what that means. It still doesn't really change the fact it's not a portable system, and the fact that I don't want to bring it downstairs because it's a bit of effort to set it up is a testament to that. But if you were going on a holiday and you wanted a semi-portable system to take with you, you've got a tripod, a controller, and your phone. That's a pretty small setup to have the best of emulation under $200. I haven't seen any of these dedicated systems able to do that properly. Anyway, food for thought. I just wanted to make people aware. I'm aware now, and I'm not sure I'll ever see the emulation handheld space the same again. At least not until they start catching up with where budget mobile phones are at right now.